Think back to your first summer camp experience. That specific smell of damp pine, generic bug spray, and the low-grade anxiety of trying to fit in. Now imagine all of that, but instead of a merit badge for archery, you get a body count in one of the most debated endings in cinema history. Sleepaway Camp. That's the flick we're going to talk about today. This is Parallel Frequencies. I am just Blane. She's Coco, and you are the freaks. What's up, Coco? How are you on the Whistful Wednesday?
Not me. Tired from watching this Sleepaway Camp at 11 o'clock last night.
Yeah.
Going to bed late.
And we're going to talk about why we put it on the list today. We will. We might as well just do it right now. It's wild. It's wild. It was a coincidence, a crazy coincidence that a couple nights ago, I can't sleep. So I put Sleepaway Camp on. It pops up on my Amazon Prime.
As you do when you can't sleep. You're like,
oh yeah. What
horror movie to put me to gentle lullaby?
No, that's my thing. I love watching horror movies and going to bed. Like that's I put on. I like, but I have a rule that after midnight it has to be something that's like from the 80s or 90s. It's got to be vintage, nostalgic. So it was like 1 a.m. Couldn't sleep. So I'm like, you know what? I want to see Felissa Rose and Jonathan Tiersten. I want to see them in Sleepaway Camp. Because who doesn't like a good campy movie? And this is where the camp slasher genre really, I don't want to say started, because we can go back and find some more. But this is the one that put it on the map.
Yeah.
But the coincidence here, I'll watch it. And then not 12 hours later, we get news that Jonathan Tiersten passed away. And he plays Ricky in Sleepaway Camp, which incredible role. Yeah. And Coco, we had something else scheduled on the docket today, but we were like, you know what? It's Whistful Wednesday, which is a nostalgic movie we normally do.
Yeah.
I just watched the Sleepaway Camp, and then the news broke that Jonathan Tiersten sadly passed away. I think we got to do Sleepaway Camp. That's how this came about, right? Like.
Yeah. Let's give tribute where we can, when we can. And definitely if there's been some sort of intuitive premonition, I think on your part to watch the movie. I don't think that, obviously I'm in the woo world, but it's right? Like I feel like something that's pushing us to do a certain thing, and then something like that happens. You gotta go roll with it.
So what's your witchiness say about that?
I think there's a lot more to synchronicities than people would give credit for. People like to say coincidences are coincidences. Sure, that seems, statistically, if you want to map it out in a nice T-graph, sure, coincidences happen. But I think that for people who pay attention, I think that people who feel and intuitively go with their gut feelings on a lot of things that they do. They understand that feeling when something is, I'm being pulled or pushed or prompted or in some way guided towards something. I think that was kind of the, could it possibly be coincidence that you just woke up and were like, I can't sleep and I need to watch something. I'm going to watch this movie of all the 80s movies, of all the horror movies, of all the different things you could have watched. And then just say, I'm going to watch this one. Come on, people. I want to hear your stories, too.
Yeah.
I want you to tell me, have you ever had something where it just felt like, I don't know why, but I've got to follow this instinct, this prompting, this feeling to do something, and then it turned out that it was just the exact right thing that you needed at that time? Or
what is the chances that coincidence lines up and it's just a coincidence? I don't know.
Statistics major can figure that out for us. I took statistics in college and I barely passed. I could get myself out of a speeding ticket with a good discussion about differentiated deviation, whatever it's called, but I was not very good at statistics. Let's be honest with you. I was the one on the test who was like, what's the likelihood you're going to reach into a drawer full of batteries, and some are packaged and some are not, and some have a charge, and then you grab it for your flashlight, and what are the chances you're going to get one that works, or some such thing? And I remember just being like, 100%, because I'm going to grab the packaged batteries. What kind of question is this? So I wasn't good at all the configuration of numbers
I mean,
but
I think, coincidence is just part of the simulation, so that's
okay, yeah. We could get
so
into that for sure.
yeah, we could totally get into that. Or, the fact that we live in an algorithm or whatever else. We actually lost a internet 1.0 algorithm generator here back from way back. And I don't know if you heard about this, but we had a sad funeral, maybe. I don't know. Here's the picture. Ask Jeeves. Do you remember the website?
Oh, was that still going?
Yeah. Well, not now. They had to shut it down after 30 years.
Aw, Jeeves.
Ask.com. Ask Jeeves. Remember this guy?
Google.
Here he is on the screen. But he's gone. We lost him. And I gotta say though, that's
before Google, right? Am I right in remembering? I mean, I wasn't up on what was the technology advancing, but it was Ask Jeeves was before Google, if I remember right.
I believe so. Because like I said, this was an early pioneer of
search
the
engine.
Early Wild West days of the internet. AOL, Yahoo, all these other ones. Ask Jeeves was right in there with them. So the kids out there, if there's any freaks who are younger than probably 30, I guess, since it was 30 years ago, it said. Yeah, if you're younger than that, you don't remember Ask Jeeves. They're all like, who is Jeeves? Who is this?
Yeah. I mean, when technology advances to a point where something else pops up and is more accurate in searching and more accurate in facts, and it kind of trumps the other until one becomes like the prominent way that people go to search information. So I think that's my guess on what happened. But it's interesting that we were just talking about using AI to assist us in things. And having a butler named Jeeves, even if it's an AI butler, is right up the alley of what's coming out in modern advancements. So, I mean, like, it's interesting that it's gone now when it's probably the time it should be coming up.
You know what? I'm working on an AI assistant for myself. Sure, I know. I'm just going to duplicate myself, but I'm going to name him Jeeves. I've been trying to figure out a name. I think Jeeves would be perfect for my AI assistant.
Yep. A little tip the hat.
Yeah. Keep him going.
We're naming the next generation of helpful technology assistants.
Yeah.
I use technology too much, I can tell.
Well, let's get to Whistful Wednesday and the movie.
All right.
Sleepaway Camp. The movie that really... it shouldn't work. It's low budget. The acting is inspired, maybe. And the fashion is aggressively 80s, but it becomes a cornerstone of the cult horror world. Why? Why does this movie still haunt us? Is it the gore?
That's my question.
Is it the deeply weird, uncomfortable energy? Like that is radiating in every frame of this movie, by the way. Is it the short shorts? I don't know. Man, those shorts were...
It's some tight clothes.
Yeah.
On one camp counselor in particular. I'm just...
big time.
He's standing while other characters are at sitting level. A little bit of uncomfortableness for me. Well, noticing that, but...
Yeah.
Tight
shorts. Yeah. But let's get into this mess called Sleepaway Camp, 1983. I said it's a mess. It really is. I mean, think about the opening scene, that speedboat accident. That's pure 80s chaos right off the bat. The first real star of the movie, first 10 minutes, Aunt Martha comes in, She sounds like she's constantly reciting a dark nursery rhyme while being slightly over-medicated. It's wild. So you got this weird relative, this weird energy already at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, what were you feeling? I just threw this one on you literally yesterday to watch this movie.
And I will say, even from yesterday to today, this is a 2-watch requirement.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I, was going to watch it once yesterday afternoon. Fine, all good. I went on a date with my husband last night, and we got Ethiopian food, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Favorite food in the whole world. We were out to dinner last night, and I started telling him about this movie, and I'm like, you gotta see, like, I gotta show you these scenes, and I'm like describing it, and then I get to a point where I'm like, all right, we'll just go home and watch it.
Yeah.
So last night, probably too late when we shouldn't have been up that late. We sat down, and I was like, start to finish, and even as I started watching it the second time, I was like, wait, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad I watched this a second time, because there were things I was kind of Googling the synopsis of certain things because I was a little confused the first watch, and just so glad I watched it a second time.
Yeah.
So glad that I like forced myself to do that. But I have a question before we like really get into my thoughts. I have a lot. What we talked about this being a cult classic, right? There are so many horror fans out there that like they dig deep into these particular type of horror movies, especially from the 70s and 80s, where might be low budget. They're kind of, some of them are like, you don't recognize a single name in the cast at all, but people love these movies. And I just want to know, because I'm not ear on the ground in with that demographic. I want to know, what is it? What is it about this movie that they love so much? What makes it a cult classic? Do you know?
I mean, I could guess it's probably a mix of the atmosphere that the movie has. It's sure being at a camp, because if you went to a camp as a kid, it was always cool. And if you didn't get to go to a camp as a kid, this was always kind of the way in. Weirdly enough, this was the way in to see what a camp life was like.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever went to a camp, but I got to see it in these kinds of movies. And at this point, it's nostalgic. We get to look back at what it was like in the 80s, because that's a lost moment in time now. I don't think they got campgrounds that are quite like this now. I don't know. I hope they do. I wish they did. If they do, I'll sign up to be a camp counselor right now. Yeah.
For good reason. I think they've gotten themselves kind of a bad rap, some bad PR for wilderness retreats for kids, things like that.
Yeah.
And I think there are probably some excellent ones out there, but I think even they know when they run an operation like that, whether it's for therapeutic reasons or if it's one of these kind of just, sleepaway camp, like a boarding school for summer. They have to be, real careful. They're working with kids. And I think this movie highlights a lot of the reasons why.
It's very true, though. Yeah.
Very first thought in watching this movie was, the kitchen staff. Obviously, like the comments made about kids, and I was like, ugh. Already I was, every muscle in my body is tightening up, and I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're showing an example of something that even in 1983, this movie comes out, and they're like, this is bad.
Yeah. And it's real.
These behaviors are inappropriate. Looking at kids this way is wrong. Like, they were kind of displaying that and also showing the evilness of it. And it's like, let's not lose sight of that as we move into new.
You see it too, that the fat chef that tries to force himself onto the girl in the kitchen, he's one of the first to die, and we don't feel bad.
No, I don't feel bad.
We're like, whatever, bro.
Yeah, I'm a little more uncomfortable with the other kitchen staff members, like Ben, who he felt safe enough to fully display his pedophile thoughts outwardly. And Ben's doing the whole like, this is just locker room talk kind of thing. He wasn't like, what did you just say, man? I need to get the police out here. No, he was like, don't say those things out loud. And like elbow and like walk out of frame. I was like, ooh, not only is it uncomfortable that he said the things out loud, the thoughts out loud, but like nobody's like catching on.
Nobody's going to slap him in the mouth like he deserves. I got to go back to the why this movie hits. And it is, once again, it keeps coming back to me in my head. It's the camp. We got Camp Arawak here,
Yeah.
and it is its own character. Just like a Camp Crystal Lake in a Friday the 13th movie is its own character. So there's something that's attractive about that brings us in too.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, it's the camp life. I don't know. There's something just intriguing about it.
Yeah,
and
I mean, the idea of a sleepaway camp, it's a fun idea.
you're away from your parents. I mean, come on, like
whole summer with friends, and there's activities constantly, and you know, outdoors, and you know, you're bunking with friends, like a sleepover every night. I mean, the general concept of sleepaway camp is really appealing and fun, and
it is.
Sounds like a blast.
And then in the movie here, we get to see the 1980s bullying, because that's a big part of it here, all the way through this movie. I mean, Judy, my good Lord. Judy, right? She's the alpha bully archetype. She doesn't just want to be popular. She wants to mentally dismantle anyone who isn't wearing a crop top. You know, it's fascinating to watch how they portray camp life, but it's essentially Lord of the Flies. Like, that's what this thing is.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
often, were you thinking that too, where you're just watching this and going, where are the counselors? Why isn't anybody stepping up?
It was so weird because I watched this movie and Lord of the Flies literally just came out on Netflix. I watched it almost in parallel with this, and I was like, holy crap, wait a minute. This is very similar. So Sleepaway Camp had Lord of the Flies vibe to it, you know? So exactly, but where are the counselors?
Yeah, because I mean, in this day and age, you know, you would expect this kind of camp. Most of those adult supervision are all like 16 to 18-year-old kids. Like, they're not that much older than the kids that are participating in camp. You know, they were hired to come and be camp counselors, but like Meg, for example, is a camp counselor, and she's just as awful as Judy. I mean, she's mean and terrible and gets her just reward, I guess.
She's a lot. She's a lot. That's all I can say about it. But we see this unfiltered honesty to how mean these kids are. It's not a Disney. It's not your Disney Channel type of mean. Go ahead. Yeah.
They definitely like were earning their R rating. Like you sense this. I said this as I was watching it. It was almost like the movies you were warned about when we were kids. I don't know if you did this on the playground, but there was always that one kid who had seen a really bad movie.
Oh,
and he's telling you about it. And he's like, this movie I saw one time, it was rated like XXX or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever that even means. But, you know, then they're like telling you about it, and they're like, they say bad words, like this bad word and that bad word. It was almost like this movie was trying to live up to that. I mean, just the overabundance of insults and words, even like from Ricky himself, when he's hurling insults at the other kids, it's just like every bad word I can think of is going to be stuck in.
I love that. Eat shit and die. And then he yells back, eat shit and live. I think it's great. And
it's constant, the whole movie.
When the kids are on the roof throwing the water balloons, and I think it's Ricky there, is it not, that has his outburst yelling at the kids up there, and the old man comes out. And I love this because this is probably how I was as a younger kid. I'm talking, he went the fuck off on them on that roof. And the old man standing back, just letting it happen. And finally, he's like, okay, calm down. And I guarantee you, that's what I had in my life. I probably was allowed to get everything out. And then there was probably somebody near me to say, all right, now calm down. And I started thinking, I was like, I've got a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. And if not that they're throwing out F-bombs and stuff like this, but when they have their moments, their freak out moments, I'm noticing I'm that one. It's always kind of like, all right, calm down, and I'm holding him back a little bit, but
Yeah.
not like in a get mad at you type
Let
of
it
way. But
out. Do your thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I love that interaction though because it reminded me. Yeah, but man, what a fireball he really was,
Yeah.
and
You gotta hand it to Ricky, you know, being kind of the more or less the hero in this whole story, because he's working so hard to defend his cousin and to be
yeah,
like, you know, putting everybody in their place, and you know, standing up for the little guys and all of that. So, you know, you gotta hand it to Ricky. Although my question about Ricky's character in this, and I want to know your thoughts, is I was asking myself all the way to the end, did Ricky know?
mm,
Was Ricky made aware? Like, we're made aware from the very beginning, as you mentioned, his mother.
yeah,
He's just kind of like, oh, there goes mom going off again. You know, like, he's fully aware his mom is a little nuts and she's not all there. And that, you know, that is clear. Again, on the second watch, I didn't recognize the storyline and the connection to the boating accident in the beginning. And when they say, oh, Dr. Thomas is coming, and they're like, oh, Aunt Martha, is Ricky
yeah.
coming too? That's when I kind of started to piece together a little bit more of the details and the connections here. But my first
Huh?
watch, I wasn't totally clear on that.
No, I
But then
wasn't.
I'm like, okay, so we find out at the end, right? The big surprise, the big ending is, but did Ricky know that this cousin who came to live with them after this boating accident is this Angela, or is it Peter? Does he know that?
Good question. Freaks. I want to hear from the freaks. What do you think? Did he know?
I want to know what you
I'm not
guys.
sure.
I
I'm
don't know.
not sure. I'm really
It's
not
not
sure.
obvious, right? It's not obvious. Like, he's treating her like, this is my cousin Angela. Like, there's never any like awareness or any hint or any clue from his demeanor or his words or anything he says or does that's like that he knows anything different than this is my girl cousin Angela, right?
Yeah, and it's one of the few endings that genuinely feels wrong in a way that sticks with you. It like sticks to your ribs. Like you're not getting rid of this.
Yeah. I
And
think Matt was a little mad that I made him watch it. To be honest.
I mean,
I was like, you got to see this ending. You got to see it. I
is
just
it
can't see it.
I mean, but is it a product of its time? Or is it a tragic story about a child who was forced into a box they didn't fit into until they finally just snapped? You know, I don't know.
What
think-
is going on
I
there?
think looking at it now through like a 2026 lens is a little bit different
Oh,
because
for sure.
we handle a lot of stuff differently now. Identity, trauma, gender, you know.
Yeah,
So
the separation of gender for sure. And I felt, and this may be just my interpretation. Again, I love to know what the freaks think. I love to know, like, you know, because there could be a lot of interpretations in watching a movie like this and say, this is what I got. I felt like there was this underlying, not explicitly said, but the message or like what I was getting was, if this was Angela all along, if this had been the girl, Angela, she wouldn't have committed these murders. Like,
yeah,
she was committing murders because she was Peter. Do you know what I mean? I felt like this was like, oh, a girl wouldn't have done this stuff, but a boy would.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
kind of the message I was getting. And I'm like, I don't know if today, in the way that we like understand gender and we don't put things into these boxes of roles as much, thank goodness, I hope. But yeah, I kind of got that impression. I was kind of like, are they trying to say that like Peter is strong enough to like hold somebody down in the water or whatever? Like, but like if it was Angela, it wouldn't have been. I don't know.
I mean,
Just my thoughts.
that's my final question. How about that? No final thought. Final question for the freaks. Does the ending still hold up? Is it a shocker? Or does it feel a little bit different now that we're more culturally aware? Go ahead, Coco.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, that's a great question. My final thoughts, if I could have the real horror, the only moment that I felt, okay, I actually have two final thoughts. Sorry. Yeah. It just occurred to me that I have another one. The only real horror I felt like I got from this movie, because, you know, again, horror feels a little differently in a modern day
Yes.
than watching a 1983 version where you're just kind of like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Oh, that happened. Well, the real horror for me was watching the beginning of it and seeing the chefs cooking for all those campers and seeing the piles of corn they had to cook up. And for a second, I imagined what it would be like to be like camp chef or cook. Oh, to me, that's the real horror. Thinking about spending all day in the kitchens feeding like however many 60 camper kids in the mess hall.
Not only that, but
like a real horror story.
Just 60 unappreciative campers because they're not coming in there being nice about.
You're like, yum.
Yeah.
Although if they're getting real corn, like real ears of corn rather than canned corn or like creamed corn, which is what I would expect from most places, but they should be appreciative. That's pretty. In our day and age, we'd be like, do you know how much money that would cost to buy all the corn? It's pretty expensive. But
I think we should find us a sleepaway camp or have one. We should make one. I don't know. That'd be fun.
All haunted.
I know. There's got to be a lot. There's got to be a lot near us.
Yeah, I'm sure there are around here. There's some really good ones, by the way, for behavioral and therapeutic purposes. There's a couple out here that I've heard of, but they're actually top of the line, like incredible for kids struggling with behavioral issues or mental health issues. And so I just want to point that out. So if there was somebody looking for something like that, we have some good ones out here in Utah. Final thought. I love to just circle around it, but I actually was pleasantly surprised at the quality of the horror effects in this movie. Like when it showed the guy who was attacked by bees, or when it showed the guy boiling, and his face and skin melting off. I was actually really surprised at how realistic it looked. And, for being like low budget, I guess we can classify this movie. I thought it was excellent. I just wanted to say that.
Big time. And shout out to, once again, Felissa Rose. I follow her on Instagram. She's a great follow. Check her out. She's still active. She's still very active in movies. She's still active in the con scene. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm talking about Comic-Con, fan X's, those kinds of things. You got to go check her out. I would love to talk to her right here on the show. We could do another episode if Felissa come talk to us.
That'd be amazing.
Big fan of hers. Seen her on Joe Bob before. Her and Joe Bob are tight, so I know they got a great relationship. But that's going to do it for this edition of Parallel Frequencies, Whistful Wednesday. Once again, Sleepaway Camp. Rest in peace to Jonathan Tiersten once again.
Yeah. Love to his family.
Yep. And I am Just Blane. She is Coco. You are the Freaks, and we'll see you on the other side.